Welcome to the virtual Inspired Women's Retreat. I'm just so grateful that you've joined us today as we gather as women just like you and I, inspired women who are looking for an oasis of inspiration to come together to seek encouragement, support, and advice. And so you've come to the right place. This is an opportunity for you to retreat, to step back, so that you can step forward in great momentum and have that vibrancy, that energy, that inspiration that you need to live the life that matters most to you. I'm Janae Bauer, your retreat host and founder, and I'm thrilled to be here today. You know, as Inspired Women, you shared how it's so important for you, your faith and enriching your faith, and yet the struggles that you have around time management and how to implement it in our crazy lives. And so our speaker today is going to help you understand spiritual ways that you can stay grounded, spiritually be centered, and balance the lives that matter most to you. So please welcome Linda Ferguson.
Hello, it's good to be here.
It's great to have you here, Linda. So just thank you for taking the time, and we are just excited to learn more about your presentation for us on how to put God first and what that means.
Yeah, so I really appreciate having this time to share with people. I've written a book called Staying Grounded in Shifting Sand, which is really about how do we put God first in our life? How do we connect with Spirit? How do we bring that source of our own divine essence forward in our life, and allowing that to not only guide our life, but to support our life, particularly when we're going through a lot of stresses and challenges. So I want to share just a few of the key ideas from this book, which is really based on putting God first, and wanted to share a few ideas about time management because it's something that we all struggle with. I'll share some stories, and any questions that you have, we'll just keep going from there.
That sounds great. It'll be exactly, I think, what our listeners here are interested in.
Excellent. So one of the things that I share in this book, Staying Grounded for Shifting Sand, I actually brought a copy here. I can show everybody this. Staying Grounded. I don't know if you can see that so well. There we go.
Yep.
So there's the book. And my background is in both psychology and management. I have a master's in psychology and a PhD in management. One of the theories that's a pretty hard and fast theory is from Abraham Maslow. Most people know about Maslow's needs hierarchy. And that's pretty much held us in pretty good stead for, what, 50 plus years now, and which is that we have our basic needs first, and once we meet those basic needs, we can move higher up in those needs until we can get to this place of what he calls being self-actualized. Well, I actually take that need hierarchy and take it to task a little bit. Because what I've found in my experience is that when we can go to source first, all the other needs are met. So what I propose is putting God first, God as the center. And when God is at the center of our life, then we feel actualized. Then we feel alive. Then we feel like we have that divine essence, that divine presence that we're bringing into our world. From that divine essence, that divine presence, that aliveness, then we develop effective relationships, those social relationships. Then we develop the other skills that we need to get our job done. Then we're able to satisfy our basic human needs of clothing, food, and shelter. So I'm arguing that it's actually just the opposite, flipping that hierarchy up on its head.
That's so funny because I've used that same hierarchy, and you know how you have it looks like this? I've done kind of my philosophy too, and obviously that's why we're so aligned, is the idea that I believe it starts with self-actualization and then kind of goes like this.
Absolutely.
And then you go up from others, prioritizing others and the people who matter, and then that top level having God gratification. So it sounds like it's a very similar philosophy, and when we understand that, like you said, it's all about centering in on God and knowing that's when we can be more abundant and realize our potential, then like you said, even those basic needs and beyond are met.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to share a couple quick stories about how that's worked in my life, and then also share a quote that I really like. And it's a mystic or a sage of some point, and the quote is, "If I only had 8 hours to pray, I would get so much more done."
Oh, that's
And,
great.
and for many of us, we think, oh, okay, my prayer time is something I'm going to kind of carve out and I'm just going to allow it to be this much. But in reality, when we can really get ourselves centered, whether it's through prayer, meditation, Tai Chi, whatever it is for people, whatever is that centering experience, from that place of centeredness, everything else is going to go that much more smoothly. It's when we forget and we're so much caught in the gerbil, the running wheel, that we don't put God first, we don't do our own centering, we don't come from that place of our own divine essence, our own aliveness. That's when we start having problems. That's when things don't work out and we just get frustrated and we can spiral down from there. So I want to share just a couple of stories of what happened once in my life pretty dramatically when I put God first, and another story that I heard that's a great example of putting God first and then letting things flow. So, gosh, this is now maybe 10 years ago. I had lost my job, a job that I absolutely loved. It was a bit of a shock for me, and I was going through my own kind of crisis of, all right, what's the next work that I need to do? And I had, gosh, I've just done a lot of different kinds of odd projects and consulting gigs and those kinds of things. And one of the things that I was doing was I was teaching at a local university. And I thought the next semester I was going to be similarly teaching the same class as a class on ethics and leadership. Well, lo and behold, about 6 weeks before the new semester was going to start, about mid-November, and I was going to start in January, I got an email saying, oh, well, we gave this class to somebody else. And I was shocked because I was teaching the class, and the class was going really well. I just couldn't believe they were going to give the class to somebody else. And I thought, okay, that was going to be a source of income for me. Now what do I do? I went into panic mode, but I thought, okay. Here's what I need to do. And it was so crystal clear to me. I needed to get centered. I needed to just go really deep within myself and ask God, okay, if this isn't the right thing, because clearly, this was a huge, big roadblock, what else do I need to do? And I went into a very, very, very deep meditation at night. And I just prayed and I connected with God. I said, you have got to make this really clear. The next morning I woke up, I went online, and I went to one of these, jobs, I don't remember what it was called, BlueRidgeJobs.com, something like that. And lo and behold, this just awesome, perfect job came up. I mean, it was the job description of my dreams. And it turned out as I was reading it, I could tell who was going to be my boss, who was going to be the guy hiring for this. So I called the guy up and I said, hey, Joe, and I knew actually the person who had this job. I said, hey, did this other woman leave? Tell me more about this job opening. And it was so clear that this was going to be my job. It took me about 4 rounds of interviews because I had to meet with all the big muckety mucks. Joe was very excited about me starting, but he had to kind of carve out and redefine the job because he knew what skill set I could bring, and he basically created this job just for me, or tailored it just for me. 4 weeks later, I had the job offer. So it was so clear to me that when I could get grounded and centered and really come from that place, I was going to align with what was my next perfect job.
And would you say that was even a better fit than what you were currently doing for your job?
Crazy. Absolutely better. And it was not only, what was really funny was the original job posting had a salary range where, how they give you a range. The very top one was about the lowest of what my range was that I wanted. But in the course of these different interviews and talking to my boss, he increased the salary range. So I got the exact salary that I wanted to get. I mean,
wow. That's beautiful. I just love that example of how, like you said, when you, instead of panicking and then just continuing the insanity that we do to try to make it happen ourselves, you go deeper to say, okay, there must be a reason, God, and just show me the way.
Exactly. Yep. So another quick story is a woman who had wanted to have her yard landscaped. And I actually share this story in my online course. I want to talk to your folks about it at the end. So this lady wanted to have her yard landscaped, but she didn't have any money. It was going to cost a few $1,000s. And she just kept praying, all right, God, if this is the right thing for me, I know you're going to help bring it forward. I know you're going to make it happen, and I'm not going to worry about it. And she just kept visualizing how cool her lawn was going to be. So lo and behold, she shared it with a friend, and a friend shared it with a friend. And months later, 4, 5, 6 months later, she gets this call completely out of the blue by this landscaper. This landscaper says, hey, a friend of mine told me that you're interested in having some landscaping done. We had a project that we were supposed to be working on, but when we delivered the shrubs and the flowers and whatnot, the woman just changed her mind. And so now we have all these plants, all of these flowers, all of these bushes that if we don't plant it someplace, they're just going to die. Can we bring them to your house and do your landscaping for you?
Oh my gosh, that just gives me the chills thinking of that.
Yeah, bring them. So, I mean, literally thousands of dollars of time, of flowers, of bushes. These people wanted to give those to her because they didn't want the plants to die. Great example. When we just keep putting it out there, putting God first, asking for what it is, and then turning it over, which is the next big part, so releasing it and surrendering it, we allow things to come into our life.
And it also sounds like you also need that confidence to step out in faith, because you can believe those things, but if you're not acting as if, is that true?
Absolutely. That whole acting as if, that's a phrase I use all the time. It's a brilliant one. Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the other points I wanted to make is related to this, is the phrase which I absolutely love using, and it says, I can't wait to see how Spirit works this one out. I can't wait to see how Spirit's going to work this out. So I've used that so many times. Sometimes I'll drive down the highway, and this kind of is a segue into the whole time management piece. Sometimes I'll be driving down the road and trying to get someplace, and I know I'm late, and I know it's going to take me, let's say, 30 minutes to get there, and I'm 10 minutes late. I'll just keep driving. I'll go, I can't wait to see how Spirit's going to work this one out. And I hit every single green light, and I can get there in way shorter time than I could ever imagine. So there's so many ways that as we're dialing into Spirit, as we're staying open, as we're allowing, as we're affirming, as we're knowing that we're constantly being supported, things shift for us in ways that we can never even imagine.
That's such a great, like you said, a time management principle that we don't think of, because it just is it almost seems too easy, or I don't know, or too magical that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And it's up to us to hold the faith, right? It's up to us to keep the vision, to keep the awareness. It's hugely important. Yeah.
I always, when I'm struggling with a tight deadline, I'll say, okay, I'll be like, thank you, God, for expanding time, because I know that you can do that, and you can expand the amount of time that I need to get this done, and I'll just give thanks ahead of time. And it is amazing how sometimes, I literally will arrive just on time, or something will be completed just the moment it needs to be.
Yeah. So segueing into this whole time management piece, I talk about living by God time. Because God time is often not our Western concept of time. Now, if there's anybody who's conscious of the clock and trying to stick to a schedule, I'm very much of a J in the Myers-Briggs. That whole Western calendar, the Western schedule, when we're really working with God time, completely different set of rules. Completely different set of rules. We have to really trust, and this is what's hard, we have to really trust in divine timing. We have to ask and be shown, when is the right time for me to do this? It may not be today, even though I think it's today. And so if something comes up and messes me up, I have to be able to say, all right, I got to trust in divine timing, and maybe this isn't the right time for it. Or trust that as things go wrong, and here's another example I was going to share. I was working on a big project, and I was trying to get into this file. I had saved this file after this was a previous job that I had. I had saved this file in this previous job, and I was trying to get back to it, and for whatever reason, I could not open this file for anything. I tried about 3 different ways. I had saved it a couple different ways, and I was so frustrated because I had to get this done by the end of the day. I had a very hard deadline on this project I was working on. And I thought, after a while, I just thought, okay, I got to just stop. I got to breathe. I got to center. I got to just say, all right, Spirit, if this is what I'm supposed to do today, you got to help me out. So in that silence, which is the big thing of time management, we often don't create that silence to allow whatever we need to next see or know or remember. So in that silence, I just said, show me another way. And the thought occurred to me, I could call where I used to work and see if one of the tech people, the IT people, could help me with this file. So I called the person up. The woman that I wanted to talk to was there. She had time. She said, yeah, come on out, bring your file. I'll open it up for you. So, this was going to take me an extra hour, but I thought, all right, if this is what I need to get this file, I'm going to do it. So I was driving across town, and I couldn't imagine why all of my fail-safe mechanisms for getting to this file and saving it weren't working. But I thought, all right, I got to just trust the spirit that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I showed up at my old job, and sure enough, the secretary, who I absolutely love, really, really sweet woman, was retiring that day. And they were going to have a party for her. Well, I had no idea that she was going to retire. And so I just happened to show up to be able to say to her, hey, congratulations, and, what are you up to, and say goodbye and send her off. I had never been able to do that had this file closed. And this woman had been extremely helpful to me and super, super sweet. So it was just such a gift for me to be able to say goodbye to her and move along her retirement. Once that happened, I knew why that file had not worked.
Yes, and that's such good wisdom that sometimes we can take those struggles and just get frustrated and not, like you said, work them out in a better way. And yet, like that example of how God had even a bigger plan for it. And He had used those difficulties you had to get you at that right place.
Yeah. And that's us being able to step aside and say, okay, if there's something else that needs to happen here, we're going to allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So one other thing I want to talk about when it comes to God time and really allowing the natural rhythms of our life to play themselves out, rather than feel like we're always forcing something to happen. So for instance, we all have biorhythms. There are times in our day where we're going to have more energy or less energy. And if we're constantly fighting against what our natural biorhythms are, we're going to always be frustrated. We're always going to be overwhelmed. We're always going to be tired. We're going to struggle. So we have to start really learning how to dial in to our own natural rhythms. I mean, I'm much more alert between, say, 10 and 2. So I know the more real heavy thinking, the kind of the heavy lifting that I need to do in my day, it really needs to happen during that time period. And then I can schedule other things later in the day that either are easier or they don't require as much mental energy or physical energy. So understanding your own natural rhythms, particularly if you own your own business, this is huge because they're going to be, you have a little bit of an ability to set your schedule. So setting your schedule to the times when it's going to work best for you makes all the difference in the world. You're not fighting against yourself. You're allowed to give yourself a little bit more of that riding. We also have, the rhythms of the seasons and the rhythms of the moon, right? So there's going to be times during the month or times during the year when we're more active or less active, and we need to be able to honor those as well.
I love that insight because I think sometimes people think I'm crazy because my time is not 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's probably 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And
exactly.
I'm a mother of 3 young boys and I work at home, and it's at 10 o'clock where all my boys, including my husband, are typically asleep. And then that's when I can literally just get focused. I usually have my spiritual time. I'm uninterrupted. I can just be and just see what I need to get done. And so sometimes I try to fight against that, like, oh, I should try to figure out more time during the day and be more like normal people. But I'm really appreciative you said that because that's where I definitely get some of my greatest inspiration and work done is that natural time for me.
Yeah. So you also said this operative word, these shoulds, right? Like what golden, rule book in the sky says thou shalt work between 8 and 5, right? I mean, if your natural biorhythms are helping you in this other way to be productive, you'll get the most inspiration, especially when you have the flexibility to do that. That's really to be able to honor that.
Yes, definitely.
So as we honor our own natural rhythms, as we honor the rhythms of the seasons as well, and I'll give you an example of this one. So January, right, kind of at least in the northern hemisphere, and as we go into winter, it's cold, it's dark, we tend to want to hibernate, we kind of want to go in, we're not as active. Maybe with the snow outside, we just kind of want to hunker down. So part of it is honoring those natural rhythms. So what I frequently do in January is I use that time of the year, as I look at the things that I'm going to do my reading, my studying, my planning, those things that are kind of more inward focused. And then as the summer and the light gets thicker, that's what I do in my workshops and my speaking and the things where I'm more out there in a single way. So I've learned to program based on the cycles of the seasons so that I can maximize the way that I connect with the seasons, with the work that I'm doing. And again, the energy is going to flow a lot easier.
Great example.
Yeah. So the last thought I had, when I really want to share this with people, because this is pretty much the essence of most of the themes that I write about in my book and most of the coaching that I do, is that it's really important that we understand that we build our life from the inside out. And as we learn about it, the energy inside us that we bring forward, that's what's going to impact the world around us. And again, that's kind of things on its head, because you can think, okay, all these things happen out around us, and I have to respond to that, or I have to make that happen, or I have to create something out in the physical world. The real truth of the matter, when we're taking this spiritual path seriously, is that we're dialing energy inside of us. As we're connecting with that God energy, as we're connecting with that source within, that is then the energy that we bring out, and that's what changes the world around us.
Mm. Yeah, that's so beautiful how you said that. Thank you.
So changing the world from the inside out, that's a nugget I've used with coaching clients and people in my workshops all the time. And when they start really practicing it, they've seen amazing things in their life.
Mm-hmm. And just the way, I mean, you hear that often of trying to live from the inside out, but just the way that you explained it really made it clear, you know, what exactly does that mean? And I'm assuming that that's a big part of what you share in your book and your course is how to really live that way.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the last chapter of my book, I share a framework called Transformational Empowerment. And I chose those two words very carefully. About being empowered, about having that power, that energy, that awareness in our life to bring to our life. And when we do that, that's where the transformation happens. So this framework, the Transformational Empowerment Framework, that I talk about in my last chapter, I also have a framework that people can use in their day-to-day life, and I've created an email series that describes the steps of that framework. I'm definitely more than happy to do that with people on this call and watching this recording. That Transformational Empowerment Framework, man, that will affect your life in a big way when you practice it on a day-to-day basis.
That's great. So it sounds like, Linda, that you're allowing us inspired women access to that, and then there's information on the link here on the retreat of where you can get that. But also, do you want to share, you know, if people want to go directly to get that from you as well?
Sure. If you go to my website, it's Ferguson, Ferguson.com. If you go to that website, on the right-hand side, there's a place where you can sign up. It says a Transformational Empowerment Series. Go ahead and sign up for that. And if people want to also email me, I can send them an extra handout. So just email me, info, INFO, at lindajohnson.com. And once I get that email, just Transformational Empowerment handout, I'll send that to you by email.
Great. Good. Well, thank you, Linda. I'll just want to make sure everybody has gotten that information. Again, we'll have specific links for you here that you can get that, and she's giving all of us the Transformation and Power handout, which I can't wait to see. And you can go to Linda J. Ferguson, Fergson, and also you can email her directly at info@lindajferguson.com as well. And then can you share with us a little bit more about that course in case anybody here who's listening does really want to go deeper and how to put God first and really stay centered in those shifting sands?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a set of courses with people around the topics in this book. I created a study guide as well. what I found was that people wanted to have a chance to digest it on their own, giving themselves a little bit more time to reflect on it. So I took the recordings from the classes that I taught, I put it together with the study guide, and it's all up online. So if people want to sign up for the course, again, you can just go to my website again, the lindajferguson.com website, and the middle tab says online program. You just click on that, and you can read through what the program offers. There's 8 modules. Each of the modules has a recording, matches up to the study guide. There's exercises, there's meditations, there's affirmations. There's loads of material there that will help support you as you're trying to implement these ideas. And all of these ideas we talked about, plus about 10, 12 others, are really powerful ways of keeping guides in the center of your life, all available in that online program.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Linda. I know that all of us have been, inspired from the inside out just listening to you in this short time. So I'm sure that your program is fabulous and a great opportunity for those of you who do really want to, have that transformation in your life. And this is a great way you can do that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to share that with folks, and I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart having you ask me to be part of your program. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, and thank you, all of you inspired women who have joined us for this inspirational session on our virtual Inspired Women's Retreat. Again, I'm Janae Bauer, the host of the event, and similar to Linda, if you're really looking to have a breakthrough to inspire you, to be that inspired woman that you've always dreamed of and really wanting to step out this year. Maybe it's your year to finally have that that energy, that momentum that will really shift you forward. I also have a program to go deeper into wanting to have that breakthrough to inspire you, which you can find more information as well on our virtual retreat. So again, from Linda and from all of you, from my heart to yours, be love, and thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.